I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Little roller up along first. Behind the back. Gets small back there. Here comes Knight in the mix winning. See you in Pittsburgh. Can't wait. All the baby is out on the field. He's going to go in the field. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone.
You're tuned into Game On with Josh Silverberg and Eric Bowe. Talking all things sports. It's
Game on! Yeah, game on.
Game On, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday to all of you here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Game On, joining you every single week from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stay tuned because that could be changing in the near future as well. You could call on the show at 631-672-3108 is the number to call. Check us out on worldwidesportsradio.com, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Oh, I don't want to say Alexa. Well, I just did because it's going to change everybody's speaker and everything like that. And of course, well, Speedy Petey is here as well, producing the show. Hey, Speedy, what's up, man?
Yes, I am.
There he is.
With the worst record of the three of us last week.
Well, I'll tell you. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. But, of course, my co-host, Mr. Eric Bowe. How are you, sir? Happy Friday.
What's happening?
I tell you what's happened. The Green Bay Packers money line pick last week by me. That's what's happening.
Ooh, you want to start off with that? Because I think
we'll
say, you know, that
I don't know what
Green Bay was going to win and Dallas was going to lose and fire head coaches and
we'll get into Jerry's world in a few minutes and everything like that. We'll discuss all that. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to get into. Stuff that happened in the NBA, of course, everything that happened with the Golden State Warriors losing the assistant head coach. Crazy story happened at a team dinner and everything like that. So we'll get to that in a little bit. We're gonna also get into the Dallas Cowboys and why they screwed up with bringing back Mike McCarthy. Josh Hader going to the Houston Astros, 5-year, $95 million contract. Why the Houston Astros, and it will help shorten their rotation and their game now with Abreu, Presley, and Hader. Can never have enough bullpen pieces.
then-
We'll get to that in a little bit.
And let's also say how there's a no trade clause,
Yes.
no opt out.
It's a matter of does Josh Hader, is he going to want to pitch, though? Remember, it's up to him. He chooses when he wants to pitch. Ask the Padres that. But we'll get to all that. But, of course, let's start off with the big story that's been going around. Bill Belichick getting a second interview, not with the Dallas Cowboys, not with the Philadelphia Eagles, which is the two spots I thought he should have went to,
Not in the NFC East. Thank you.
but the Atlanta Falcons.
Wait a minute. Whoa, Speedy. Didn't we hear last week? Didn't someone mention the Falcons? I'm just saying.
I mean, well,
Someone
here,
A
very
lot of people
adamant.
have mentioned the Falcons.
All right, but wasn't someone really adamant it was going to be the Cowboys?
yeah, because that was what the Cowboys should have done. But again, and we'll get into Jerry Jones in a few minutes and why he's delusional and he should stop being the owner of the team and let his sons do their job.
See, the only thing I don't know if it makes sense fully for the Falcons is the quarterbacks.
Well, that's
Like,
so.
are
Here's
you going to start fresh in the draft?
no.
what I mean?
So
That's what I'm saying.
this is what they're going to do, and I could see this right now, and it's perfect timing for them because I think Kirk Cousins is going to hit the open market. Obviously, he's going to hit the open market. I could definitely see the Atlanta Falcons giving Kirk Cousins a 1 or 2 year deal, bringing Cousins in. It's a matter of will Josh McDaniels, because we saw Bill O'Brien has been hired as the offensive coordinator at Ohio State.
Right.
Which again, and I said this on the show last week, I think Bill O'Brien in the end should have just stayed at Penn State in the first place to begin with, because he would have made more of a mark for his career than just being the head coach of Houston for a couple of years. But that's a whole nother story for a different day. The point is the Atlanta Falcons, you bring in a Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator, which is what I think they could do. You have if you bring in Kirk Cousins as the quarterback, you have Bijan Robinson, you have Drake London, you have Cordell Patterson, you have Kyle Pitts. So you have some of explosive players on offense and young players that can actually get you to where they want to go. Their defense is not that bad, and I think bringing in a Belichick could kind of be the missing piece. But we've seen what Arthur Blank is trying to do. Listen, Arthur Blank is in his 80s. He's trying to get a Super Bowl at this point. And you know, you're starting to see the visual of the landscape with the coaching, right? Dallas is bringing back McCarthy. Sirianni's coming back to Philly, but they're bringing in new coaches. The Chargers are like everywhere. They're bringing Mike Vrabel in for an interview. They're bringing in David Shaw, the former Stanford head coach, in for an interview, which I think we all can, guess at this point that it's going to be Jim Harbaugh is probably going to be the head coach there for the Chargers. You have the Titans, who, so far the only one I've heard is Antonio Pierce was interviewed, which we'll get to Antonio Pierce in a few minutes because he's been hired full-time as the head coach of the Vegas Raiders, which is going to help, I think, keep Devontae Adams and Max Crosby here because they were both massive advocates for Antonio Pierce. Right. You haven't heard the Titans get involved with anything. And then, of course, you have the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. I can't remember his name. Speedy, you, I think, know his name.
Bobby Slowick.
Yes, Bobby Slowick is another one that's going to get hired. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. He's going to get a job somewhere, I would imagine. Dan Quinn is probably going to go to Seattle. If I'm Slowick or Johnson, I would not touch that Carolina Panthers job. But we're going to go back really quickly to the Falcons job. I think the Falcons are a good spot for him. It's a winnable division. It's a division that when you look at it, it's the weakest one probably in football. I mean, look, the first place team had 9 wins this year in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And who are you really competing with in that division? Quarterback-wise, if Kirk Cousins goes to that division, he's the best quarterback in that division. You have Derek Carr, Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield.
But if you have, but the other caveat, the opposite of that, if he stays in Minnesota,
he's not going to. I think they're moving on. From everything that I've read so far, is I've heard they're very interested in drafting Penix. Penix is the guy they want to draft, and we'll see where they go from there. I think they're kind of done with Cousins at this point. I think they're ready to move on.
I think it also partly determines where Jefferson goes to.
What do you mean? Where is he going? He's not going anywhere. He's staying in Minnesota. They're going to pay him the contract that he wants.
We'll see.
They're going to pay him the contract that he wants.
You don't think Jefferson's going to say, "Hey, it depends what quarterback we have here"?
No, because he hasn't complained once since he's been there. He hasn't complained at all. And he even said he would stay in Minnesota long term. He wants to. It obviously it just depends on the situation that arises, but I don't think Jefferson is the type of guy. You can't complain if you're getting a Michael Penix. I don't think you can complain. It shows that the team is trying
Right.
to get better at the quarterback position. Now, like I said, I think they're kind of done with the Cousins situation because you're looking at it in this perspective. In the NFC North, it's Detroit's on the rise, and now Green Bay is starting to find himself. They're, I think, a team that's fast pacing the rebuild way faster than they thought. They're in the divisional game this weekend. And I think that's where Minnesota's got to sit back and say, well, we almost made the playoffs this year because the NFC was weak.
Right.
But I don't know if bringing back Cousins for another year or two is going to help development of this team.
I'd be that would be my biggest takeaway if Belichick signs.
Because you also look at
stays
Detroit,
with the
right?
Falcons.
Goff
Would be the
is young.
quarterback.
Yeah, and that's Goff
the
is
biggest
young.
issue.
Love is young. Minnesota cannot keep unless excuse me, they want to give Cousins the year and draft Penix. I don't know if Cousins wants to do that. That's the other thing you have to remember too. Does he want to do that?
Right.
Or does he want to go to Atlanta where he knows it's an easy path to the playoffs with arguably the greatest coach in the history of football? With all the weapons that he has Justin Jefferson, but he's going to have Robinson and Pitts and London and Patterson. And it's Jefferson's the best receiver in football. Don't get me wrong. But you're going to have multiple weapons at your disposal. So that's where I think.
But now, so basically, you're putting your, I don't want to call it legacy, but your tenure and everything else on hopefully signing Cousins. Because if you don't sign Cousins, what are you doing?
Well, that's
the biggest question mark.
I mean, they're gonna. I think they have a plan in place. They have the cap space. Excuse me. They have the cap space to do it. So when you look at what they're doing, Atlanta, they're not going into this without a plan. They have a plan in place. They're not going to hire Belichick and just be like, okay, Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ridder are the quarterbacks. They're not doing that. That's not why they're bringing him in. They're bringing him in to maybe also attract players like a Kirk Cousins to want to play there. And Josh McDaniels is an awful head coach. Awful head coach. And I understand he was Tom Brady's offensive coordinator. But Mac Jones had his best season under Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator.
He should be the backup there, right?
Mac Jones, I don't think Belichick wants anything to do with Mac Jones at this point. Excuse me, but I think that is where everything is going to happen in regards to. Clearly, when you get a second interview, that usually means the nuts and bolts and the crannies are getting done. You're dotting the I's, you're crossing the T's, you're making sure the contract is to the fulfillment that you want.
And a lot longer interview this time, too, they were mentioning.
Yeah.
Maybe over a day.
Yeah, so
probably get that done, hopefully.
Exactly, and it will get done. He will be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, barring some crazy thing that happens. But you also still have other guys out there like a Mike Vrabel, who his only interview with the Chargers, everything like that. Again, I expect Jim Harbaugh to be the head coach of the Chargers.
Imagine Vrabel returns as a defensive coordinator.
He could,
right? And then you have McDaniels, the offensive coordinator.
Vrabel. Vrabel very well could do that.
Is that not interesting though?
The other interesting thing that came out was the Mike Tomlin stuff that came out, where Mike Tomlin is back and he is expecting a contract extension from the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is interesting because Tomlin has said, "I need to get this right." And I think he's hearing. First off, he has a lot of respect for the Rooneys. We know that,
and vice versa.
He's been over 500 every year as a head coach in this league. He had Mason Rudolph as his quarterback, and they made it to the playoffs. Kudos to him. That's massive. So
he name pick at the starter already for next year, but there will be.
Oh, they're gonna go out and search.
There will be massive competition.
They're gonna go out and search. They're gonna look. They're gonna view every option. They could be in on Kirk Cousins possibly, and maybe give him. I don't know, but
that's my thing. There's gonna be more plethora of teams in the NFL who are gonna be in on Cousins. And that's what I'm saying. It's not. I don't think
he is 36, coming off a torn Achilles. You gotta be wary of that. Listen, as a Jet fan, I'm extremely wary of it with Aaron Rodgers.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a shoe-in that he goes to Atlanta either. So then you have to have a backup plan. Russell Wilson's probably going to be out there.
Yes, and that is a guy that I've heard I've heard that Pittsburgh is interested in Russell Wilson with Tomlin there. They think that Tomlin can fix Russell Wilson.
He didn't look too bad this year.
Justin Fields is going to be available in trades. He will be available. The team that I'm very.
Hold on. Let's think of that.
I could see Fields in Atlanta too. By the way,
Fields in Atlanta.
Yeah, I could see that
with the guys you just mentioned.
With McDaniels. Yeah.
That gets a little interesting there.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, I would. I think another interesting one I wanted is it's gotten my curiosity is what do the Miami Dolphins do with Tua? That's my curiosity. It's because he can't be.
How many times are we talking about him in the MVP race?
Yeah, I know, but he cannot beat good teams. We've seen it. He's a disaster against good teams. And we'll get into the games in a little bit, but Speedy, I can't remember the name of the who was the assistant. We'll get into the assistant head coach that passed away for the Golden State Warriors. Do you remember the name? I thought we did, but let me search. I bet you. Who thinks I could get it first, me or Speedy?
Dejan Milojevic.
Dejan. How do you say it?
Milojevic.
Dejan Milojevic passing away at the age of 46 due to a heart attack at a team dinner. Actually, he coached in Serbia, Nikolai Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's where you got to give the NBA a lot of credit for not making it about basketball, but actually postponing those games.
Yeah, I was gonna say they postponed not just one, but they postponed a multiple game, and it hit hard for Golden State. Yeah,
kudos, Silver, for doing that. Kudos,
and it is a very
bigger than basketball in that instance.
It is a very sad thing when you look at the whole thing because he was only 46 years old, and it was such a sudden thing that happens, and you think to yourself, well, how does the NBA go about this? Doing the right thing by canceling the games. To me, was a massive, massive thing for them, because what it shows is, like you said, it's not just about the, getting the ratings, getting the games going, and everything like that. You can make up these games. It's look at with DeMar Hamlin.
Yep,
they stopped the game. That there was reports. Remember, they were going to get the game up and running again. Right. And I remember I was watching that game live. We're going. I'm reading on Twitter. The game is going to resume in 15 minutes. I'm like, a guy almost died on the field.
Right.
Yeah, what do you mean you're going to get the game up and running in 15 minutes? So to me, it's, condolences to his family and loved ones, of course, very sad news. And it really is shocking, because like I said, he was a very popular coach in Serbia.
And in the NBA.
And the NBA too. A lot of people liked him. So I wanted to just make note of that story. Josh Hader to the Houston Astros, the new closer, 5 years, $95 million contract. And really quickly, I just want to throw this out there. What are the Philadelphia Phillies doing?
Listen, they're going to be an 85 to 90 win team and, go back to the World Series like they usually do.
Oh, so they went to the World Series this past year.
Not this year, obviously.
Oh, well,
they usually do.
Really? Usually?
They have a...
Speedy, how many World Series have the Phillies been to in the last 20 years? Is it two?
I guess we need to...
20 years? No, I don't think. No, I think only the two. Yeah,
there's just the two.
Yeah.
So I don't think they really go very often.
They were in the 80s a couple times, and I think once in the 90s.
And then they went to they went to three. They lost to the Yankees. They beat the Rays,
and they lost to the Astros.
And then they lost to the Astros. So
there'll be a sneaky team in the playoffs. All right? Is that better, Mr. Captain Literal?
No.
Way to go, Captain Literal over here.
I don't understand how the Philadelphia Phillies can sit there after Craig Kimbrell single-handedly was one of the massive reasons they lost that series to the Diamondbacks last year. The Phillies have been trying to find a closer since Brad Lidge was there. And they have a guy just sitting there. You're telling me after they pay all this money to all these players, a massive
Don't sleep on the bullpen. Don't sleep on the bullpen.
They don't have who's their closer? Sir Anthony Dominguez?
They could use him.
He stunk at the end of the year last year.
I wouldn't sleep.
Who was the guy on Detroit that they traded for that was a disaster?
Gregory Soto.
Stunk. And meanwhile, Kimbrel's not even there anymore.
No.
So how do you not?
They still have a.
How do you not? Speedy, should the Phillies have gone after Hader?
I think it's worth it for anyone to go after
5 years.
Hader.
You're
100%.
telling me
And
the
it's not
Phillies.
just a true closer either.
You're telling me he could give you 2 innings. You're telling me that the Phillies couldn't, for 5 years and $95 million after they're paying Trey Turner and Harper, and they just gave Nola this massive
Yeah,
deal.
but you just
How are you going to? You're telling me you can't bring this? They're a win now. We lost the Arizona series because our closer couldn't get anything done.
you just said reasons why they wouldn't sign him.
Yeah, but what's the yearly annual value for Hader? What is it?
95 over 5. I
Do it here quickly.
think it's 19.
95. Yeah.
roughly.
So you're telling me you couldn't 19 million a year? You couldn't do that for Josh Hader, who's one of the best closers in baseball? A thing that you've needed
you
since
could argue-
Brad Lidge was there.
You could argue he is the best in baseball right now.
He's not the best in baseball.
You can make that.
He's not.
Okay, who would you put above him?
Edwin Diaz. Diaz apart. Easy. And I'm not going to give Diaz because Diaz was hurt last year.
So all right. So
And by the way, I also
Let's
give
get it.
Diaz more of credit because Josh Hader likes to pick and choose when he wants to come into games. If you saw that report about the Padre situation.
so okay. So again, you're making a case of why not to sign him.
Well, if he's not the best closer in the league, he's probably second.
I would put him above Diaz.
So that's more of a reason for you to think that they should
Agreed.
sign him.
Agreed.
So they lose Kimbrough,
But with all the
but
time-
they didn't even replace him.
not yet.
Who are they replacing him with?
I mean, it could be internal.
Who do they have that's internal that's good?
You just name, let's say, Sir Anthony Dominguez.
Not good last year.
Gregory Soto.
Not good
full year.
last year.
You don't think they could turn around? So wait. So Diaz has a couple of bad years, but all of a sudden he's the best closer now.
Well, no,
So
Diaz. Diaz
So
is.
guys can't
Well,
turn
no,
around?
Diaz's first year with the Mets was awful. He stunk.
Right.
His second year with the Mets stunk. The first half was great,
But that's what I'm
and
saying.
then he was so unhittable that year. 2 years, he was unhittable. I mean, you couldn't hit
is
a
he
thing.
the only pitcher that could
You're
happen to?
wait a minute. So you're comparing Edwin Diaz to Sir Anthony Dominguez
No.
and Gregory Soto?
I'm comparing.
What an insult!
I'm comparing the fact that you could actually have a better season than your previous season, which we've seen how many times?
I just don't see how Gregory Soto can be the closer of this team. I don't see how Sir Anthony Dominguez, who they tried to make the closer last year in the playoffs because Kimbrough was a mess, be the guy when he was a mess too.
And if that happens and it's the trade deadline and we're talking, near All-Star break and everything, maybe they go out and get one.
But you say that every year about the Phillies. They need to go out and get one. They never do.
No, I agree.
They don't
but wait,
value the
let's-
closer position. They don't value it.
But did it also not seem as if the Astros worked really fast on this? Almost wondering as if they realized, hey, maybe we're not going to get Neris back. We got to pivot. And all of a sudden it was
Yeah, I know,
and then all of a sudden it was we have interest in Hader, and then the next day it's boom, signed.
I mean, who would you rather have, Josh Hader or Hector Neris?
No, I'm not disagreeing.
That's a
with
great.
that.
I mean, look, that's a great pivot.
But that's what I'm saying. Doesn't it not seem
Forget
like it was
pivot.
quick?
That's an audible at the that's an audible at the freaking line of scrimmage before the play is happening and they see the blitz coming. That's what that was by the Astros.
But I'm saying, wasn't it not quick?
Of course it was quick.
Look at this entire off season and signings and everything.
Oh yeah.
Dragged out. This was we're interested. Boom, we got it done.
But you know what? They took the initiative and good for them.
Absolutely.
And honestly, what they did was with Abreu, Presley, and Hader, you shortened the game by 4 less innings probably for your starters.
And they have depth in for their starters too.
That's what I'm saying. And you still have Tucker, and you still have Abreu, and you still have Bregman, and you still have Otuve. Now and you still have Alvarez.
for this year.
This is their last window because
Right.
Altuve's gonna no, excuse me. Bregman's gonna leave as a free agent. We know that. Altuve's contract is up
Who
soon,
do
I
you
think.
choose? Do you choose Altuve or Bregman?
Bregman.
You probably signed one out of the two, right?
I would choose Breg. They would probably choose Altuve because he's the face of the franchise. They would probably choose Altuve because he's the face of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also been more clutch in the playoffs. Altuve's as clutch as a playoff performer as there is. I don't care what anybody says about the cheating or the not cheating. He is. That being said, he is the guy that you would have to sign because he's the face. He's a future Hall of Famer. I don't care. He will get in. If other guys are like David Ortiz are getting in, he's getting in.
Right. Ortiz is getting in, but A-Rod is also getting in. So is Clemens. So is Pettit. So is Sheffield.
Yeah, okay, relax.
So, oh, wait.
Well, it's also the way they were towards people. I mean, Gary Sheffield went to the stands and literally punched a Red Sox fan. It's not really going to help your case. David Ortiz was
Get him in. Fan favorite.
Exactly. It's
great with the meat.
I want Billy Wagner to get in. That's what I want.
I think he should be.
He should be.
He absolutely should be.
Billy Wagner's numbers are just as good as Trevor Hoffman's.
Yes.
Yes. What? Jeff Kent should be. Speedy, remember that one on one of my first episodes? I did a 20-minute rant on why Jeff Kent should be in the Hall of Fame. How is Jeff Kent not in the Hall of Fame? But here we go. I'm doing it again. How is Jeff Kent not in the Hall of Fame? But Ryan Sandberg is. But that's besides the point.
Speedy, can you pass me the fishing wheel? I'm trying to reel Josh.
That's fine. I'm just saying now. Am I wrong now? How is Ryan Sandberg in the Hall of Fame, but Jeff Kent's not?
Oh, he's a wild one here. Come on.
And I like it, Frank. And Frankie said that Billy Wagner's not a Hall of Famer. How is Billy Wagner not a Hall of Famer when you look at his numbers and his career statistics, compare them to Trevor Hoffman's, and they're actually better than Trevor Hoffman's, other than the saves. Everything else that he has is better than Hoffman, yet why is Wagner not a Hall of Famer? How about this? When you make a comment on the show, come back with stats and statistics, and then we can have an argument about it. Until then, spewing nonsense does nobody any favors.
So anyway.
Oh, we're not comparing him to Mariano Rivera, you fool. God, I mean, this is just... Actually, you didn't give statistics. He's doing it. Like, he's not even giving statistics. He's not giving his career saves. He's not giving his ERA. He's not giving his whip, his Ks per 9 innings. None of that. Mariano Rivera is the greatest closer of all time.
Yes.
Did I compare Billy Wagner to Mariano Rivera?
You said, I believe it was a Trevor Hoffman
thank
comparison.
You. Said Trevor Hoffman. And is Trevor Hoffman in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Thank you.
Billy Wagner should be?
Here's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Frankie, stay with me on the tracks here, pal. Don't get off. If you do, I'm not reeling you back in. You're on your own somewhere in the desert. When we come back, we're going to get to some football. Mike McCarthy is back with the Cowboys.
We should go over our playoff record so far, too.
Oh, we will.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, we will. We're getting to that, boy. The dud by the Browns, man. We're getting to that.
If only someone could see it coming.
I mean, I picked Packers money line. That tops anything anybody else said this weekend. We'll be right back here with Game On the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Game on! Game on!
We're back. You're listening to Game On with Josh Silverberg and Eric Bowe.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm Josh Silverberg, of course, with my co-host, Mr. Eric Bowe. And Speedy Petey, there he is. And there he is, and he's gone. Here on the board, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get to our football picks. God. Speedy, where are those knockers? An idiot. Really quickly, so I'm not even going to do this. We'll do this another time. I looked up career numbers and everything like that. But actually, Wagner's numbers are pretty close to...
You're still feeling this whole Wagner thing.
That's just annoying when people spew crap and they don't know what they're talking about. But whatever.
All right, let's do some education then real quick.
I already exited out of everything, so we're done.
Let's not educate. Let's move on to football picks. Wow.
No, I mean, look, Hoffman's,
and there you go.
Hoffman's pitched a couple of years longer than Wagner, so it's going to kind of skew the numbers. Yes, he has more saves than him, but the ERA, Wagner's had more of an ERA. The innings pitch are actually very close, and Wagner has a better career playoff. Trevor Hoffman was known to be a career playoff choke artist.
I don't know. He did all right against the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let's get to the playoffs. Let's get to the NFL. Mike McCarthy back with the Dallas Cowboys, and boy, oh boy,
huge.
Did not think that would happen. But you know what? Here's what this tells me. This tells me that Jerry doesn't care about winning. He cares about money and his ego. In the sense that he wants yes men and puppets to basically he can be over all the time. Doesn't care. Which is, when Bill Parcells was the head coach of the Cowboys, Bill Parcells actually went to Jerry Jones's office after Jerry met with the media after his first game as head coach. Bill Parcells walked into Jerry's office and told him to shut up, stop meeting with the media. He didn't meet with the media again during Parcells' tenure. Maybe that should have been something if he would have hired a Belichick. But Jerry doesn't want to do that. Jerry likes to make everything about himself, and it takes away from the coaches and the players and all this stuff because it's Jerry's world, and we're all just living it if you're a Cowboy fan.
Wait. What is McCarthy's record as a Cowboy head coach?
Who cares? He stinks in the playoffs.
Is it him? Let's see. Is it?
He's one of the reasons.
Does Dak not get any credit for
100%? Dak gets a lot.
Does CeeDee Lamb?
Hold on.
Does Pollard not get any credit?
Yeah, you're gonna blame those guys.
Where was the offense?
Where was the defense?
Where was Parsons?
He was on his podcast probably trying to hype himself up for next season. Where was that defense? Jordan Love slinging its sidearm to Roman. Who scored the touchdown? Musgrave?
Mm-hmm.
Luke Musgrave. Have you ever... That looked like something on ESPN where they're like Dan Orlovsky's doing a replay of something and he's pulling the players. He's doing like the board and he's pulling players from the opposing team out of the shot. I had never seen a guy that wide open. There was nobody there.
Is Dan Quinn already have a foot out the door, though?
Well, that's why Dan Quinn is taking every interview under the sun because he knows he's not going to get another shot after this. Because the truth of the matter is this. The truth is the defense was atrocious. But all Cowboys fans want to do is blame Dak for everything. And is Dak very good? He's a okay quarterback. He's pretty good.
How many picks?
They do too.
Oh, and one was a pick six?
Let me ask you, how many touchdowns did the defense give up? 5?
More than 2.
And by the way, did I not say that this defense was not going to be able to contain the Packers offense? And by the way, their number one receiver, Christian Watson, I don't even think had a catch in the game.
But let's also think about, too, that Dallas defense was not the same after Diggs went out. After Diggs tore his ACL early in the season.
Okay, but they worked at that all year.
I know, but they were not the same.
The guy that they had he broke the record for pick sixes in the season.
But they were not the same type of defense.
So then why didn't they go out and they trade for Rasul Douglas?
I agree.
Why did they not do it from Green Bay? And by the way, you don't think Green Bay wishes they still had Douglas on their team? They probably do with Alexander. And I said last Friday, Jair Alexander was going to cause problems for this Cowboy offense because he was going to be all over CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
Lamb could not get open. And if he wasn't on Lamb, he was on Ferguson.
Right.
They kept rotating him.
They don't have that strong wide receiver.
They don't have a number 2, Dallas.
And they don't have a strong slot receiver.
They tried it with Cooks, but Cooks is finished. Cooks has been finished for the last 5 years.
So I'd be real curious to see their offseason.
I have no idea what they're going to do in the offseason, but I will tell you this, that between Romeo Dobbs and Hyatt and Watson and Musgrave and how about Aaron Jones? When he rushes for over 100 yards or gets 100 yards, when he gets 100 yards of total offense in his career, the Packers are now 26-1.
Yeah.
Jordan Love had 32 touchdowns this year. He, in his last 8 games, 21 touchdowns, 1 interception in his last 8 games.
Played
21 touchdowns.
Absolutely.
And this is where, and we're going to get into it with them in a second, but the truth of the matter is this. Dallas, I don't know where the plan is now for next. This was there for them. Undefeated at home. You get Detroit next week at home as well. This was a very winnable. I said this was the worst that could have happened. Just losing to Green Bay.
Right.
To losing to McCarthy's former team is the worst thing. They got lambasted in this game. They were down 27-0 at one point. You heard what Kyle Shanahan said. They started game planning in the second quarter for Green Bay. That's hard. You know how harsh that is? And then you have the Philadelphia Eagles, who I saw this coming. I mean, we knew it was
a surprise, though.
No, it's not, because this was basically
7 weeks they've been playing.
I mean, this was a downward spiral, or as they say, kind of a collapse that just went so. It just kept going and going and going to the point it was just endless. And when was it going to stop? And are they going to get this one?
Start, they were just downhill.
The New York Jets ruined the Philadelphia Eagles. Zach Wilson and Tony Adams ruined the Philadelphia Eagles. Who saw that? Tony Adams,
such credit,
ruined
credit being given.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
You know what? It was a long season, moral victories. We'll take it.
I mean, look, again, the first loss, but after that, but even before that, when they were 10-0, it was a Fugazi 10-0. People were saying that they were not as good as they were last year, and everything. They lost, and now they're going to try to get new coordinators. But here's the problem: they seem to not fight for Sirianni, and then Jalen Hurts makes the comments that he says after the game about Sirianni as the head coach, and Fletcher Cox the same thing. To me, how do you keep this guy when you have a Bill Belichick, a Pete Carroll, a Mike Vrabel?
It sounds like
Jim Harbaugh just sitting there.
His teams love him. Fletcher Cox didn't even entertain him.
I know he didn't, but Jalen Hurts did not love him, and he doesn't love him. And I think a Pete Carroll would thrive in Philadelphia, in that city.
I think so.
He would crush it with that city. How do you not hire a guy like that? They didn't even fight for this coach at the end of the year. So to keep him is a disaster. And it's so crazy because, you look back at Doug Peterson, who won a Super Bowl and was fired 2 years later.
Right.
So I don't understand how.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sirianni has a short leash for next
season. Him and McCarthy, I think, both will.
Mm-hmm.
They both will.
There's going to be that caveat.
They should be. But I digress on that. What were your initial reactions when you heard about McCarthy and Sirianni both being back next year?
I was a little shocked. I'm not going to lie. Especially with the McCarthy one itself. Because not this year, but how many years has he always been on the hot seat? Partly too. Whether it's starting off hot, finishing 500, missing playoffs, losing early in the playoffs itself. He hasn't gotten them over the hump. He hasn't gotten the best out of Dak. This year, not so much. Dak was phenomenal this year.
He was an MVP candidate.
Exactly.
But the game was over before you could blink.
But that's the biggest thing. Can he get the team to that next level?
No.
Or is there other coaches out there that are better?
I don't believe he can.
Other than Belichick. Who else is out there that you think?
Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel could. I think Pete Carroll could. I think Pete Carroll. People are not giving Pete Carroll enough credit for what he did in Seattle. They're not. The guy made it to the playoffs last year with Geno Smith as his quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to look at it in this perspective of what he did and the work that he did.
But also take into consideration, you're looking at the record McCarthy has in the regular season. But obviously the playoff record is the one that's tough. You're almost it's almost as if they're hoping he can come back as like an Andy Reid. You kind of get that second chance. All right, prove it now, and all of a sudden, boom, big difference. But I don't see this team itself being able to. We hit on the issues before. You cover CeeDee Lamb. Who else is going to beat you in the passing game?
They don't have anybody. That's it. They tried it with Brandon Cooks. They have Michael Gallup, who's toast. Ferguson had a good year.
And that's what I'm saying. McCarthy's not your GM. Right?
That's Jerry. Jerry always goes by names.
So
he thinks Brandon Cook still has something because he goes by a name.
That's also the issue there in Dallas.
Remember, Speedy, you'll listen. You remember when they got Roy Williams from Detroit?
Yep.
Because they figured out he still got something left. He's a big name guy, multi-Pro Bowler. He was a disaster for the Cowboys. He wasn't even, I don't think, activated for their roster in the playoffs. It was a joke.
But that's what I'm saying. So maybe that's where the leniency is coming from McCarthy. And
because they thought Miles Austin and Des Bryant were the guys that they needed a third guy there with Roy Williams, and it was a joke. It's
and switching gears to Philadelphia, that's kind of the same thing. It's all right. You've proven you can win here. We didn't execute on, in the playoffs here. We're going to try it again. We're going to try it one more time. Let's see. Does history repeat itself? And when it does, see you later? Or is it was a fluke?
Yeah. Well,
and right now, both owners are kind of saying this was probably a fluke. We're going to run it back.
I'm very surprised with Philly.
Mm-hmm.
That one was I did not expect that one. But all right, let's get into our playoff records. Well, what were the playoff records, Speedy?
Alrighty, so Eric was 5-1 last week.
That's nonsense.
Can't believe I lost that one.
I challenged that game.
Yep. The only one he lost was that Dallas Cowboys game.
I should get an extra 2 wins just for picking that game.
Right.
That was the biggest spread of the week.
So I should get an extra 2 wins for picking the Texans over the Bills.
No, because that was the biggest spread of the week. I think it was what, 10.5?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Again, like I texted, it's about quality, not quantity, apparently. So yeah, you were 4-2, Josh. I was 3-3.
Gosh, that was 2 losses. How did I keep chose 2 wrong?
Yeah, because I chose the Miami and the Cleveland game. I got both of them wrong.
Come on, Miami.
In
the cold.
I thought
in the cold. Josh?
I really thought
in the cold against the winning team.
I thought McDaniels would
Joshua.
actually run the football with 2 good running backs instead of trying to have Tua chuck it 20 yards down the field every freaking play.
Unbelievable.
McDaniels was horrible at play calling that game. It was awful. How do you not use your 2 running backs?
We don't have to do it now, but let's rerun the tape later on and just see the key point of why Kansas City was supposed to win that game.
Well,
it matched up that way. Let's not go into
All right, let's get into it, Speedy. What is it? First game. I'm guessing, what is it? The Texans again for the second week in a row?
Yeah, the Texans again.
That's right! The first game. The streak continues for the Texans, baby.
Oh yeah, they have to reward team. They have to penalize teams that don't get to conference championship games, unless you're the Cowboys. Then you still get primetime slots anyway, just to see a meltdown like they had in the playoffs. So yes, the Ravens are favored by 9.5, hosting the Texans. The over under is 45.5.
9.5. That's a big spread. That's a huge spread.
Start us off, Josh. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with Baltimore in this game because the thing is, Stroud. We've seen Stroud in cold weather games this year. It's been iffy at times. I'm concerned now. Listen, Mark Andrews is out. He's out for this game. They announced that he's not going to play. So that's a kind of. But again, Baltimore's played without him for the whole season, pretty much. Lamar's playing the best. Now I know he's 1-3 in his career in the playoffs. I get it. It's been a disaster for him in the playoffs. He's playing on a different level this year. Todd Monken has done a great job as offensive coordinator with him. Much better than Greg Roman has. I mean, Greg Roman put him in spots he just couldn't succeed at, but he's also got weapons. He's got Beckham. He's got Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman is starting to come on. Finally, they have, Gus Edwards, who is a touchdown machine in the red zone every time. I like where they are. I think they're the best coach team. This is no knock on the Houston Texans. They've had a great season. Bobby Slowick is going to get a job somewhere, whether it's this year or next year. I like Baltimore at home in this one. Give me the Ravens. 9.5. 44.5. I'm going to take the under in that one. I'll take the Ravens. That's a big spread. I mean, I'll take the points, but it's a big spread. So I'm giving the Ravens.
All right, Josh, you just talked about the coaching. D'Amico Ryan's coach of the year? Yes. Houston Texans covering the spread? Yes. Houston Texans winning this game? No.
Okay, thank you.
Baltimore, with or without Mark Andrews, still getting it done. Likely, steps in and, business as usual. Lamar Jackson having a stellar season itself. That defense is playing unbelievable this year. I'm going to stick the under as well. I don't think it's as a high-scoring game.
Yeah,
close as well, too.
The spread is 9.5. That's crazy. I think it's going to be a closer game than we think because, honestly, it's plus 9.5. I would definitely take the points, but that's a ballsy.
We've also seen this game earlier in the year, right? And although the score didn't dictate how good of a fight Houston put up. So I just want to throw that out there too, but I think Baltimore has this one.
Yeah.
Right.
Speedy, who you going with? I'm going to say
I'm going with the Ravens too, but I'm going to go different. I'm going to go over. I think this one actually goes over. I think Lamar Jackson running is an impactful one in this game. The Texans have a base defense, a lot like the 49ers, struggling against running quarterbacks, so I think he'll run a lot more in this game. I know you said Andrews is out, but Isaiah Likely, I think, has a nice
Well,
game.
Arrow's going to have to fix his parlay now.
What happened?
He's going to have to fix his parlay now because he had Andrew scoring a touchdown in the parlay.
No, he had Ayuk.
It
was all
no,
49ers.
no. But
he was
told
all
me another one in the
parlay.
Ravens. He told me the Ravens won too.
That was not. We had Gus Edwards as a touchdown.
He also said Andrews too.
He did not say Andrews.
He did. He told me before the show. Did he not say that?
Well, then he didn't say that on the show yesterday.
Well,
so.
he said it today,
Behind
Speedy.
the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Regardless, yeah, I like the Ravens. I like the over, but I agree with Eric. I like the Texans covering.
Boo this man!
All right, Josh, your dad's Green Bay Packers against the 49ers.
Against my mom's 49ers.
That's right. Niners favored by 9.5. The over-under is 50.5.
I like the over-under. I think it's going to go over. I think it's going to be a lot of points. This is not the Dallas Cowboys defense they're playing against. They're saying they're going to. Errol said I was crazy. I'm going to say a crazy thing again this week. I think the winner of this game, Speedy, are you listening to me? This is important. The winner of this game, I think, is winning the Super Bowl. If the Packers go into San Francisco, I think the Packers are winning the Super Bowl. I think it's that kind of year.
I'm just glad
it's a weird year, man.
Glad we're all sitting down on this take.
Go ahead. I mean, I think I'm going to take San Francisco in this game. I think Green Bay already. It's gravy for the Packers, man.
So
they went to Dallas, whooped Dallas and Jerry's World. They did their thing already. Jordan Love looks great. It's going to be a close game, though. It's going to be a really close game. I think Jordan Love's going to keep them in this game as much as he can. It's the same issue kind of with the 49ers as the DBs. Can they stick with the Packer wide receiver? I mean, can they stick with the Packer wide receivers? Yes. But the problem is the Packer defense. Are they going to have as much success against Dallas's offense as they will the Niners? I don't think so. There's more explosive players on the Niners offense. McCaffrey, Ayuk,
Debo.
My mother,
Kittle.
see what she wrote? See what my mom wrote? She goes, remember who loves you more?
A house divided has begun.
Well, just remember this, too. My father already says this to me every single year. When the Packers play the Niners, every year, whenever it was Favre, Rodgers, we know how it would go. The Niners always win in the playoffs. And it's always been the case, whether it was Jeff Garcia, Steve Young, Colin Kaepernick, didn't matter.
Listen, I think you hit the nail on the head in this one.
I'm going to go Niners, too, by the way.
It's not
Close.
Dallas. It's not Dallas.
It's not. It's tougher, but it's going to be close. Give Green Bay love. It's going to be. I think it's going to come down to the wire this game.
They already have love, but that's a different story.
Touche. No pun intended.
No, puns are always intended. Josh.
Shut up,
Come on.
Speedy.
Yeah, jokes. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? God help us all. Don't hurt yourself.
But that's the thing. Dallas, you cover CeeDee Lamb. Who else is going to beat you? Nobody. San Fran, you cover Debo Samuel. Who's going to beat you? Ayuk, McCaffrey, Kittle.
Jair Alexander can only do so much.
That's exactly
and he's gonna. They're honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they put Alexander on Kittle this game.
And the biggest thing, I don't know. I hate to say it, but experience. Now is the time where the experience comes in too.
Green Bay just got experience last week. They went to a hostile environment in Dallas and beat the snot out of.
I don't think this game is going to be as close as we think it is.
But let me ask you: did the experience help Dallas last week? Jordan Love didn't have
what experience?
Dak Prescott's made like 6 playoff games in his career.
Oh, they have experience.
Jordan Love,
negative.
Exactly. Jordan Love. That was his first playoff game of his career.
Lose?
Yeah, that was his first playoff game.
How to lose?
I'm just so you're going. You don't think it's going to be close? See, I'm going to say this now though. If Green Bay wins, I'm going to sit here and say I'm not surprised.
All right,
I'm not because nothing surprised me. I'm still going with the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a part of me in my head that says, God, Jordan Love is playing on.
Now, what are we saying close? 10 and more?
What, you mean the score?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think by a field goal.
I'm thinking 10 or more.
No, I think under.
10 or more.
I think by a field goal. I think Purdy drives them down the field at the end of the game. I'm talking 41-30. I'm talking 41-38.
I don't know if Green Bay can score that many points against this defense.
Jordan Love is right now. Jordan Love, and this includes Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love is playing as the best quarterback in this league right now in this playoff.
We'll see it.
Just saying. Oh, man. This is the song right here, man. This is the song, Speedy. Hype me up for waiting all day for Sunday night.
Well, I would hope none of us are going to try to sing that because I don't think we can replicate
Just
that.
watch the Saturday Night Live skit. It's very funny. Saturday Night Live skit is very funny.
I do want to see Josh sing it, though.
No. Watch the Saturday Night Live skit when they did it. It was very funny.
The viewership would go astronomically through the roof.
I don't know.
Anything's better than me singing, but that's
another
story.
Viral sensation. Yeah, Speedy.
But yeah, I'm with Eric. I like the 49ers a lot in this game. I think Jaden Reed is the one Packers receiver I think that will strive because the 49ers, if they have any weakness on their defense, they do struggle against those quicker slot type receivers, which Reed definitely fits that mold. You saw Jordan Addison go off on them, Zay Flowers, receivers like that have trouble. I think it'll be tougher though for Romeo Doubs. I think Charvarius Ward is a tougher matchup for him, a traditional bigger slot corner.
Who's the safety that's out for the Niners? What's his name? He's out for the year. That's a huge loss for them.
Yeah, it is a huge loss for them. The problem is I don't know if the Packers are going to be able to stretch the field on a consistent basis because I don't like their interior offensive line as much against this Niners interior defense.
But the Niners haven't been able to rush the passer this year.
The Cowboys, though, their interior guys are more run-stopping types. The 49ers have Armstead and Hargrave. I think that's going to be a lot
but if
harder.
they're run-stopping types, then how did Aaron Jones run all over them this past week?
Outside running.
Then why can't the Niners do that? And why can't the Packers do that still?
Because the Niners have bigger defensive linemen. The Cowboys are a finesse defensive line.
You're all just
We're delusional, apparently.
You're almost making me want to pick Green Bay, but I'm not going to. But you're almost making me.
You won't.
The other thing too is they have a smaller linebacker and safety core against bigger tight end like Kittle. I think he's gonna have a monster game. I like the Niners in this one. I think it's gonna be by double digits as well.
Go ahead, Josh. You really think that strongly of Green Bay? Go for it. Go for it.
All right. Moving on to another NFC North team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. The Lions are favored by 6.5. The over/under is 49.
See, I think this is going to be a close game too, because I think what happened last week was such an emotional win for them that it's kind of like, all right, you beat Stafford, you got it down to the wire, you won your first playoff game in how many years? You got to bring it back down now. And now you're facing an opponent who is playing pretty well right now in Tampa. And they're feeling themselves right now. They just destroyed the defending conference champions. Granted, they were struggling, Philly, but it still counts. A win is a win.
Sure, the Giants beat the Eagles too. But
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, they beat him. There's a difference. The Giants lost them in the playoffs. The Eagles lost to the Bucs in the playoffs. So it's good and different. Last year, the Giants had a chance, and they sucked.
Well, I'm saying the last 2 losses for Philadelphia were the Buccaneers and the Giants.
I know. But you can't sit there and you're not going to. So listen, I think Detroit's going to win, but I'm still going to give. I'm not even just talking about the Tampa part of it. I'm talking about the emotional side of it. You have to bring Campbell's got to bring this team back down now. It was such an emotional high last week. You got to get back to all right. We've moved past that. Let's get back to you don't want this to fall into the trap area of we did so much already. Boom. Next week. We're facing an inferior opponent in Tampa. Let's not lose sight of what we're still trying to do here.
I'm pretty sure you just hit all the highlights about Dan Campbell. High emotion, get my team ready, let's go.
No, I mean, look, high emotion for him is fantastic. I love Dan Campbell. I wish he would. He should. I guess it doesn't matter now about the Dallas game. That doesn't mean anything anymore. But I'm just saying it really is in all seriousness. You got to make sure you got to bring everybody back down to speed because again, you're also facing a team that also does have playoff experience and Super Bowl winning experience in Tampa. These guys have won a Super Bowl. A lot of these players that are on this Bucs team. I'm going to take Detroit. The spread was what, Speedy? I think it was 9.5?
6.5.
6.5? I think they'll win by double digits, but I think it'll be a close first half. I think Detroit will start to pull away in the second half because I think Campbell's going to have to bring the guys down because Detroit has to realize if you win this, you're going to the NFC Championship game with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. That's the part that Dan Campbell's got to bring these guys. Just a year ago on Hard Knocks, there were guys being emotional about wanting to win for this and that. And now they're possibly a game away from the Super Bowl. I'll take Detroit, but I'm got to give Tampa their flowers. Give me the over. What's the over under?
It was 49.5.
49. That's a lot. Give me the under in that one. I'll take the points too. Give me Detroit.
Stop. Let's switch. Let's just say if the Rams were going against Philadelphia last week, what would happen? I think the same outcome. Philly still loses.
Rams would win, yeah.
Then the Rams would win.
Right? So, and let's just say if Tampa against the Rams instead of...
I don't know.
Rams would win that, so...
Okay.
I don't know, really. You're that confident in that?
They've owned the Buccaneers for the last 4 years.
That's fine, but let me tell you,
you
can't just discredit what Tampa did last week.
Correct. But we're also looking and putting Tampa on a pedestal against floundering Eagles team.
Nobody's putting them on a pedestal.
Great win. Absolutely.
Everybody
Great
expects Detroit to win this game.
Yes.
And that's the part where Detroit has to get it in their head to not look ahead to the next game.
But when you see their quarterback, I think Jared Goff, out of all the quarterbacks, probably
Goff wasn't that great in the second half last week.
Has the biggest chip on his shoulder.
He was not that great. They scored 3 points in the second half last week.
This is a Jared Goff revenge season playoff. You started off by beating the guy you got traded for. All right, you want to continue.
I mean, yes, but
You've made it.
I'm not here to blame the rest, but the Rams got hosed in that game. The Nacua,
Detroit's going for
the
it.
Stafford hit. They got hosed, man. They did.
Detroit.
The Rams easily could have won that game.
I don't think Tampa's going to keep up with St. Brown, with Gibbs, with Montgomery. And the chance Laporta plays.
Well, Laporta's playing.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Tampa's defense.
Nobody's talking about. How come nobody's talking about Josh Reynolds at all? The receiver.
I don't know, but we're making it sound like Tampa's really going to get into it, and then all of a sudden they're going to.
No, but we're not bringing up Reynolds at all. Has he not had a good season?
He had a good season.
Speedy.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up Josh Reynolds on my pick.
I'm saying he's had a fantastic season for the Rams. Nobody's talking about him.
Let's not also discount the Detroit defense, who's been top notch.
They've been okay.
They're gonna make it to where Baker has to beat you, and I don't think Baker is gonna be able to do that. Give me Detroit. Give me the over. And I don't think Tampa covers the spread.
Yeah.
I do think Tampa covers the spread. I think this will be a close game because the Bucs defense, for one thing, has been good against the run. So I think it's going to be much harder for Montgomery, especially in this game, to go off the way he did on the Rams. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I think it'll be kind of tough too. Where the Bucs, I think, will have issues is like Josh was saying, Josh Reynolds, I think Jameson Williams, somebody like that could stretch the field. St. Brown will get his.
Which is crazy because they have not gotten Jameson Williams involved at all. It's crazy because I don't know if he fits because he's such a speedy, fast guy that doesn't run routes. Is it just he just doesn't fit what Goff with the arm strength and everything?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it could be. I could see him getting traded in the offseason personally.
Right. And I think it's going to be one of those the guys to be vital because I think Tampa's going to do a good job taking out Laporta because they got two good linebackers and Winfield.
Levante David.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tougher matchup. Where I think it'll be harder for Tampa, though, is Rashad White. I don't think he'll have as big of a game in this one. I think Evans and Godwin will get theirs. The Buccaneers' red zone offense also struggled, so I think it'll be a lot like the Rams game where they think they move down the field but struggle in the red zone because the Rams kicked a lot of field goals in that game. Tampa did that too.
Detroit's offensive line will be able to hold down Vita Vea. That is going to be because Vita Vea has to be the run disruptor that he normally is. The problem is they're going against the best offensive line in football. That's the problem, that, and everything. So that could be a problem for Tampa there. But I agree with you with Levante David, though. He's one of the best covering linebackers in the game of football. That's why I think Laporta will be X'd out of this game.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to St. Brown.
Yeah, I think both teams will get their share of big plays. I just like the Lions red zone defense, what they did last week against the Rams. So I think that'll end up holding them to field goals more. I like a 27-23 type score. So I like the Bucs to cover, but I like the Lions to win.
Okay, let the Bucs cover, but the Lions win. Okay.
All right, and the final one is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are favored by 2.5, and the over/under is 45.5.
I'm taking the Chiefs in this game, and I don't even think the Bills are even going to, I don't think it's going to even be a cover. I could see this being a slaughter. I don't like the Buffalo Bills. Was it me, or was I just not impressed? Was everybody impressed with them and their win against Pittsburgh last week? Nothing impressed me about that game. Pittsburgh easily could have tied that game at one point. I mean, it's really I don't like the way they play in the playoffs, Buffalo, the last few years. I have not, other than that Kansas City game. Josh Allen to me has not done something that he's supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks in football. Name me a playoff performance where you left that game and you said, "Wow, Josh Allen looked like a man possessed and took over that game." Other than the Chiefs game.
Other than the last week, too. But go ahead.
No, he did. He wasn't that great last week against Pittsburgh. He wasn't. And that was without TJ Watt. And I think the bigger concern that we're not discussing, this Buffalo Bills defense is a problem. I don't like it. Mason Rudolph was doing a pretty damn good job against them in the second half of that game last week. This is now Mahomes and company going into Buffalo. And you want to talk about the home field and the cold weather. This is Mahomes' first road game. Fine. Here's the reality. Mahomes played in the fourth coldest game in history of football last week. Mahomes, let me tell you, that cold nonsense, crap. I'm very concerned about this Buffalo defense. I'm not excited about it. I'm concerned about it. I really think Kansas City. Now, I think Kansas City could go in there and really beat the. Remember, everybody said last year, Cincinnati Buffalo, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be tight game. And Joe Burrow walked into Buffalo and smacked. Joe Burrow put the Bills on his knee and spanked them in the ass 50 billion times over and over again and said, "I'm your daddy now. You can't do a thing about it." And that's what I think the Chiefs could do this week. Now, granted, Jamar Chase was there, T. Higgins, it's different. But look at the one thing we're not discussing. We keep talking about Mahomes this, Mahomes that. Dude, Steve Spagnuolo needs to get another job as a head coach. He got robbed in that St. Louis Rams job. It was garbage, that job. That was a no-win spot for him. Steve Spagnuolo is still one of the best game planning defensive coordinators in the game of football. he took, other than the big play Tyreek Hill made last week, he took that entire offense. And everybody says, well, the Dolphins defense actually did a pretty decent job on the Chiefs offense. It wasn't terrible. It was pretty decent. The problem was the Dolphins offense, which, by the way, had everybody healthy, both running backs, the line, Hill, Waddle, everybody played. Tua, they did nothing against Spagnola's defense. I like this Chiefs defense a lot. This Chiefs defense is going to be playing a offense that I think is worse.
No Gabe Davis
doesn't make a difference, and that makes it worse than the Dolphins' offense. The Dolphins have more playmakers on offense. The Bills have one guy. Now, if you want to say James Cook and you want to rely on that, here's the thing, though. The Chiefs' run defense is pretty damn good. But Karlaftis is starting to come on. You have Chris Jones there and everything like that. But, man, if you take Stephon Diggs out of that game plan, you're going to rely on Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. Kincaid still can't catch the ball 100% of the time. Give me the Chiefs. I don't think it covers the spread. I like this I could see this being a 2-touchdown score.
See, you had some very valid points right there, especially, let's just say,
I just don't like this Bills defense. I don't.
Miami's defense was playing pretty well.
They were, and that was with a bunch of Melvin Ingram, who they pulled off the street.
You were saying their offense, was gelling, but just didn't run it or anything. Yeah, I agree. But guess what? Their defense is not as good as Buffalo's defense.
Really, I disagree. I think their defense is way better than Buffalo's defense.
Tua in the playoffs against a good team is not the same as Josh Allen.
Josh Allen hasn't done anything great.
Josh Allen gets his. The Buffalo Bills get theirs this time. Finally dethroning the Chiefs this week. Taking out probably a late second field goal. This is the game I feel more confident of it being a close game rather than a blowout so far.
And again, it's not that I'm Josh Allen will still put up his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And
if he does,
I'm more concerned about the Bills defense. I'm very concerned about this Bills defense. That's because Mason Rudolph didn't have a terrible game last week.
I don't think they play the greatest, but I think they play well enough.
Oh, but they did the same thing against Skylar Thompson last year too. It was the same thing.
They're going to play well
Why
enough.
does this happen?
And you know what? I think it's more so of the offense of the Chiefs. Mahomes obviously is probably the best quarterback. You can say Lamar, and I can't argue with that either. But at the same time, Kelsey's not the same. Kelsey hasn't been lighting it up like Kelsey can.
Mason Rudolph last week was 22 for 39, 229, 2 touchdowns, and an interception.
That's fine. But guess what?
That's Mason Rudolph, man. He's going for almost 250.
It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a phenomenal shootout like we're used to between these two teams.
And I can't give Josh Allen the credit because they beat a team without TJ Watt. Why does he need the credit?
Buffalo's defense better than Miami. Miami was in that game. Buffalo's defense a lot better than Miami's defense. And you finally have what you wanted, the home game against the Chiefs. I don't think they squandered this chance right now. Give me the Bills.
Go ahead, take the Bills.
By a field goal and a low-scoring event.
I still think it now. I think Baltimore's winning the AFC anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I don't think you're far off with that.
Yeah.
I
don't think it matters.
I think we've seen the two teams play each other this year in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that another time.
Yeah, Speedy.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I know you were mentioning the Bengals-Bills playoff game last year. I think the Bills last year, mentally were just struck with the whole DeMar Hamlin thing. I wouldn't discount what they were last year into what they've been this year, because I think if the Bills were so struck at like that mentally in the middle of the season like they wouldn't have made the playoffs. Like if they were just going to pack it up, McDermott fired.
That's fine, but let me ask you on paper though, who would you say is last year's Bills defense or this year's Bills defense on paper is a better defense?
Here's the thing,
because remember Tremaine Edwards is not here anymore.
The pass rush is better this year with the Bills.
Ed Oliver had a nice year.
Yeah, and I think the overall pass rush depth is a lot better than last year. Their secondary still concerns me a little bit, but again,
Their secondary is atrocious.
so is the
Douglas.
So is the Chiefs receivers, though. That's the problem. Like the Chiefs don't have that other besides Rashee Rice, who's been nice. Like I don't really see anyone that you could trust on a consistent basis. The Bills, I think game planning wise have been a lot better. You mentioned, the Steelers. I think they got a little lazy in the second quarter in that game. I think the Bills sometimes do that against bad teams. They get too conservative too early. Fine.
Well,
they did that against the Patriots too.
Well, that shouldn't happen.
Okay. But look at all the good teams
they
played in the second half of the season. Besides the Eagles, like they played well against all of those. The Chiefs the first time, the Dolphins, teams like that.
Whoa. Oh, you're talking about the defense. I thought you were talking about Josh Allen. Okay, because Allen was atrocious against the Dolphins. He almost cost him that game.
No, I'm talking about the defense. The defense held their own against teams you would claim to be like thought of as good teams. And I think that'll help them in this kind of game too, because I do think they can game plan for Travis Kelce to an extent, and Kelce will get his, obviously. I also like James Cook as a matchup in this game to counter the blitz. Spagnuolo loves to blitz. I think a pass-catching running back is going to be very helpful in this game. And I disagree with the tight ends. I like the tight ends matchups in this game.
I'm very concerned about this Bills offensive line against this pass rush for Kansas City. And you like the tight ends. That's fine. Here's the thing. Dalton Kincaid has been very inconsistent this year. With catching the football. That's number one. Number two, if you're relying on Dawson Knox to be your game changer in this game, that's a problem.
I didn't say game changer, no.
Well, you said you like the tight ends.
I like the tight ends to do key things in this game. I also like Josh Allen running, to counter the blitz as well.
I like the Chiefs pass rush.
We've seen this game earlier in the year.
So I like the Bills. I agree with Eric. It'll be a low-scoring game. It'll be close. Like I definitely think it's going to be right down to the end. The Chiefs definitely can win this game. I think it's a lower-scoring game, but I think the Bills. I think there's just something with them this year. I think they have the adversity finally. I think they've rallied in the second half. Last year was a lot like the Dolphins at the end of the season. Like everything happened all at once with them, and they could never recover. This year they've gotten to this point. So give me the Bills in this one on the under.
Good, you take the Bills. That's good. Both of you take the Bills. Take their wings, take their snow, and everything you want about them, and you could go shove it up somewhere because I'm telling you now, we're going to come in here next Friday, and I'm going to say, boy, this is like a resemblance of the Green Bay Dallas game. That was fun.
We'll take notes.
Take notes.
Josh is saying he's going to keep receipts.
In the words of Robert Saleh, I keep receipts.
You're going to keep receipts, Josh, huh?
Well,
Eric, if the Bills win, you could go tag Josh on Twitter on the Freezing Cold Takes account.
Go ahead. Do it. Go ahead. Give me notoriety. That'd be amazing if they could do that.
You know what? I just, Josh is so heavy into the Packers really putting up a good game, except he won't take them. He won't go.
No, I'm not gonna. No, because I know better. No,
one last final.
His mom's in the comments section. That's why.
No, but my mom's in the comment section, and my dad's texting me. So it's like I'm not getting involved.
If you're gonna do it, do it. If you're gonna do it, do it. Come on.
I just want to know what time the Jets are playing.
You gave all the reasons why the Packers can win.
No, I do think it's.
Won't pick them.
I think I don't think people. I think people are really underestimating how good Jordan Love has played.
I'm not disagreeing on that.
And
I'm just disagreeing on you giving all these reasons why the Packers can and will win, and then just taking the 49ers.
Because I know better. Let's get really quick before we go. Pascal Siakam traded to the Indiana Pacers in a nice trade.
Not a good deal.
It's a great deal for the Pacers, and he already has agreed to. He's signing a max deal with them.
Halliburton, Turner, Siakam.
Yeah, I think,
tough.
And I gotta tell you something. And the Knicks, we never even talked about the OG trade and the Nobi deal. It's almost like so these two teams, and you see what Anunoby has done since he's been here.
The number one defense now the Knicks have.
Yeah, it's when you look at what and you look at what they've done, and Anunoby's going to sign with the Knicks long term. They wouldn't have made this deal without that. When you look at
hopefully.
They wouldn't have made this deal if that wasn't the case. But you look at everything perspective. Everybody says if the Knicks were playing the 76ers in a 7-game series, what would happen? Anunoby would be on Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
And look what happened the last time they played. They beat him by 30 in Philly. So I like the move that was a great deal by Indiana, and the Knicks made a great deal too. I think Quickly's not going to stay in Toronto. Barrett Barrett just did not fit this Knicks team. It looks like it too. And everybody keeps saying to me, when are the Knicks going to get Donovan Mitchell? I don't think the Knicks want Donovan Mitchell anymore. I don't. I don't think they want another ball handler in that lineup. I don't think that that's what they want. They want a guy who could go, who's a two-way player. That's what they want. Mitchell is not a two-way player. He's a good offensive player. He's not a good defender. He's very small in stature and size. They don't want that. That's not what they want, and that's not what they preach. That's why when they Leon Rose, I think, wanted OG more the whole time than he did Donovan Mitchell.
I think they could also go with the 6-man too. Kind of replace quickly off the bench a little.
Well,
bit.
I mean, the guys that you've been hearing Terry Rozier, you've been hearing Malcolm Brogdon, who won 6th Man of the Year last year. Alec Burks is another name that we've been hearing would come back. DeJounte Murray is one. Murray's a good two-way player.
I wouldn't be surprised if Grimes gets on the way out.
I'd
be real curious on that.
I would do Grimes and a couple and if they could get Clint Capella back in that deal too, then that would be really good, because then what you could do is then you could have Capella be the backup or to Hartenstein right now, and then apparently Mitch is probably going to come back, but you can't wait. You got to do this now. So,
and two opposite kind of centers though.
Yeah, I mean, what?
Great. Hartenstein more of the.
Well, that's always him and Mitch.
Capella.
That's always what it's been. Mitch is the defender, rebounder, but Hartenstein's becoming that guy, and that's why I think the Knicks need to figure out how to bring him back for next season. But it is now time for the.
You're better than that.
All righties. Yes.
Josh, you start us off.
Want to start us off? Well, I want to start us off. It's a very simple one. That is the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. I don't understand how you get blown out at home on national television with the coach that you have, loses to his former team, and the guy that replaced him to the 7th seed, who was, 9-8 this year, barely got in, and you get lambasted at home at Jerry's. And I love seeing the Cowboy fans just sad and everything like that. It's so funny. It's great to watch them sulk and weep and be sad and everything like that. So Jerry Jones, broski, my man, you are better than that. Or are you? Because your brother wanted you didn't. Your son stopped you from drafting Johnny Manziel. I don't know about that.
Speedy, this one might go personal. I'm just saying.
You're getting Speedy excited.
You know, this one is one of those. We just heard the segment before. We heard all of the reasons again.
He's gonna say me probably.
Of choosing.
It's gonna be me.
Why
probably,
the Packers?
Why I didn't pick the Packers?
But you're gonna stop. You're gonna stop at the end of all but choosing them after giving all the reasons why they.
Yeah, because I said it's gonna be a competitive. Yeah, because I said it's gonna be a competitive game.
Joshua, come on. You're better.
I thought you would at least make fun of me and say that I think the Chiefs might blow out the Bills.
Are you going to make it a monthly ritual to make Josh you're better than that? Once a month?
Ritual is what you want. But here's the reality. If Green Bay does somehow go into San Francisco and beat them,
then my segment is, Eric, you really thought Josh was wrong? But guess what? We're not at that point right now. We're not at that point.
Watch me. What time is that game?
But it doesn't matter. You didn't even choose them.
Yeah, 8:15.
So if Green Bay wins, Green Bay wins, we both have egg on the face.
Watch me at 8:12.
I'm just calling it out of choosing every reason why they should win, why they will
watch
win,
me at
but won't pick
8:12.
them.
Watch me at 8:12 go on DraftKings and put the money line in for Green Bay at the last minute and be like, guys, and I'll send you the slip.
See, so you're adding more reasons to this. Of why you're better than that. Let's see. I'm gonna put the money line on them. I'm gonna go to all this stuff. I'm gonna choose why they should win.
It's honestly because I think San Fran's the best. I think San Fran's the best team in the league.
Come on.
I do.
Come on.
I think San Fran's the best team in the league.
Come on, Josh.
But Green Bay could be number 2.
Josh.
Green Bay could be number 2.
Josh.
Green Bay could be number 2.
You're better than that.
Thank you so much to the fans for tuning into us every single Friday here from 6:30 on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And you can check us out and all of our other great shows on worldwidesportsradio.com. You can check out, of course, the Sports Loudmouth with Speedy Petey. You could check out The Herd. You can check out The Betting Show. You can check out The Wise Guys. You can also check out The Weekend Crunch every single Saturday, either at 7 p.m. or after the New York Islanders play on 103.9 FM, the LI News Radio Network. Check us out also on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Podbean, Spotify, smart speakers, Apple Podcasts, all over the place. We are everywhere, growing, great shows, great platform. We love this every single week. And we're excited for more football this weekend, and we will see what happens, of course.
Especially in that Green Bay game.
Oh, dude, there's like part of me that wants Green Bay to win this game.
So pick them. Pick them.
Stop.
It's not the Packers versus the 49ers. It's the battle of Josh's parents.
Yeah, I can't get involved in this. This is like no, I'm not sticking my hand in the cookie. You know what I should have just done? I should have just picked the over-under in this game. That's what I should have just done and not even pick which team is winning.
He's picking both without picking both. He won't commit to Green Bay.
No. Speedy, thank you so much as always. Thank you to the listeners, of course, for tuning in. Eric, my man, always a pleasure. Appreciative of everything you do, bring into the show. We love all of you out there. Eric, any last words? If you say one more stupid thing about the Packers game, that's it. You're done.
All right, so I won't say go Pack Go.
Then why don't you pick the Packers? You seem to be excited about it.
I'm excited to see how this game goes because I really don't want them to win now. After all that.
Oh, the Packers?
I don't think they will, but
no, I think it's going to be a close. I do think it's going to be a close game because I think Love will do a good job, but I think Purdy will. The Green Bay defense is going to have a tough time.
That's not the issue at hand, though. My issue at hand is Green Bay is going to win because of this. But
That's not what I said. I didn't say. I said Green Bay could win.
Naming every reason under the sun why they will.
But then I say this last week about Dallas.
Gonna go bet them on the money line and everything.
I said, hold on, and you both looked at me like I had 5 heads last week. You thought I was crazy for picking them over the Cowboys.
I don't think it's that crazy.
You both thought I was nuts. Go back and look.
I mean, I still think you are, but for other reasons.
I picked the Packers.
It's out of love.
It's
out of love.
Packer money line was great on DraftKings when that hit. I was like, yes, yeah.
Josh would give you one last time,
especially when Darnell Savage did that pick 6. I was like giddy. I was like, woo! Go back, go baby.
Josh, come on, one last time. One last time. Your dad,
I know better.
Your dad's listening in.
So is my mom.
Intently.
Doesn't make it any better.
Your mom's listening intently.
Doesn't make it any better.
Are you going to switch to Green Bay?
I am not. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Enjoy the football this weekend. We will talk to you next week. Until then, stay safe, everyone. Have a great weekend. You've been listening and watching Game On live right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.